the Top Sky Prime 2 is the successor to the Prime 1, and there were a couple issues with the Prime 1 that made it essentially unusable. And those issues were, number one, the screen resolution was just horrendously bad, and number two, the screen had this weird diagonal tearing, like if you're playing an FPS video or any video game and the the frame per second rate is not synced with the monitor, you get this weird tearing effect. You would get that on the goggle screen like in a diagonal, and the screen just had such low pixel response that you just had so much blurring and you couldn't really see really well where you were going. And while they were a really budget pair of goggles, they were not worth the money because they were below the minimum usability. Now, this version is a little bit different. They changed the color to red, which I really would have preferred they kept it white because it reflects sun more, but the red is totally fine. This particular goggle has maybe a slightly better screen. It's not a huge improvement, but it is definitely an improvement. The resolution is still just barely usable. The screen tearing effect is still there as well, which is annoying, but it's not a total deal breaker. It's just something that's just a little bit annoying. The contrast of the screen is still low. What you're watching is my phone recording the screen, and what you'll notice is that the screen is enormous, which I'll get to in a second. But the contrast is not as good as what you're seeing in my phone, and the brightness of the screen is again not as good as what you're seeing in my phone. My phone is compensating for the contrast and the brightness, or the lack thereof, in the screen. The contrast is a little bit less than what you're seeing, and the brightness is definitely less than what you're seeing. When you go from bright sun to sticking your eyes in the goggles, it looks super dim until your eyes adjust to the screen. That's where the brightness level is at, which again isn't a deal breaker. It's just something to note. Again, I'm comparing this to like high-end goggles, so I'm giving you like the highest critique possible for these goggles. The viewing experience of the screen is shockingly nice. I mean, you can see the whole screen with no blurring, barely, but you can see the whole screen with no blurring, so that is super nice. And the screen is huge. The field of view is like 50 degrees, 45 degrees, which is also really nice. It's just really unfortunate that the resolution is so darn low. The goggles also have a DVR on board, which is really just a bonus. And the reception of the goggles is great. It's totally fine. It's actually better than most super budget goggles. Now, the issues with the goggle are, like I said, the contrast of the screen is not the best. The pixel response is not quite the best. It's better, but it could be, I mean, again, I'm comparing it to high-end goggles. The pixel response could be better, but it is totally usable. The brightness of the screen is a little bit low, and the lenses that they're using in these goggles, I personally have quite a bit of eye strain when I'm using them. It's okay for 2 to 3 minutes at a time, but if you're going to use them for more than 5 minutes or so, I start to get a little bit of a headache, or just eye strain headache, because your eyes do have to focus like they're looking at something really, really right up close. So that is a dilemma with them. Now, what do I think about the goggles? Do I think that they're good? Do I recommend them? So the best competitor in this category is the Eachine EV800, and that is a single screen solution box goggle, and it's uglier. It doesn't have as good signal retention or reception. There is another version that has a fake diversity, which I believe this one is a fake diversity as well, but I don't care to open it up and see. And I don't think that one has a DVR either. But I think it is a little bit cheaper, and the diversity version is about the same price. The screen quality on the EV800 is, however, a little bit better contrast, a little bit better pixel response, a little bit better brightness, and a little bit better resolution. So everything about the screen is a little bit better. However, the Fresnel lens that you have to use to look at the screen is pretty crummy, and it's not as nice as the lens on these goggles. So it's really a toss-up which one you want to go with. Both of them are minimally usable. I personally would go with the EV800, the Eachine product, because I think it's a little bit more usable than this product. It's a struggle to recommend either one because neither one is really that great. The Eachine EV800 is the lowest level goggle that I recommend still over this one for a beginner. I think it's enough to get you into the relatively intermediate, or at least close to the intermediate skill range. And once you get there, I would really recommend just dropping the money to get a nice pair of goggles, or whatever's the best at the time, the best, not like something mid-range, because mid-range is just not worth it. Your goggles are not something you change often. You change them once every 4 years. I've had mine for 5 years, I think 4.5, 5 years. and that's just how it is. Analog, people think it's on the way out. I personally don't think it's on the way out at all. The DJI HD system is really nice, but I personally have one and I don't use it. I prefer my analog because analog is much more versatile. If they had made the DJI goggles accept analog video into the goggles themselves, that would be a done deal. Everybody would just get the DJI system. Like I told them, I don't know why they didn't do that. They would have captured the entire market and made all other goggles pointless, really, because why would you get anything else when the DJI system does analog and has a nice screen, does analog, and you can use it for HD too if you want. But whatever, maybe they'll do that in the next variation of the product, who knows. But yeah, what I think that Top Sky should do is focus on this particular kind of product and just improve the screen quality drastically. I mean, look for the best OLED panels that will fit inside this goggle and have nice resolution, nice contrast, nice colors, nice everything. Charge $300 for it. That's okay. Also give us nicer optics that don't give you so much eye strain. But my concept for a goggle is really closer to this than it is a Fat Shark goggle, because the screen size in a Fat Shark goggle is super tiny. They're micro displays. They're called micro displays. They're super high resolution, super tiny screens, and making larger screens of lower resolution is just cheaper. It's just cheaper, and there's more options out there that are existing. Now, I've been looking for options for a long time now, and I haven't found them, but I'm positive that there's something out there. Companies can find something, and if nothing else, the market is expanding maybe enough soon to make a specific screen just for us. And if I was to make a screen, I would make like a 1.5 or 1 inch, probably like a 1.3 inch screen that is like high resolution, 1024 by 768 minimum, and OLED with all the best tech that we have right now, and that's what I would stick in a goggle product. And I think that $500 for that product that really looks beautiful, that you can see the whole screen with no blurring, super nice picture, super nice everything, will accept HD video in, which will become important in the future. I think I don't know why they're not focusing on that product. Instead, they're focusing on the super duper low end budget, which, yes, there are a lot of new people coming in and they don't want to spend a lot of money, but really they're gonna graduate from this low end tier to something higher up very quickly. And I think most people would recommend just going with the highest quality or best option at the time. Right now, the best option, these birds are just killing me. It's like I live in a zoo. Right now, the best option is the SkyZone 030, the OLED version of the SkyZone. They're a little bit under $500, but they are unmatched in everything except for the signal retention or signal quality. There is slightly more glitching in the signal compared to RapidFire, but it is acceptable in my opinion for the drastic improvement in screen quality. Anyways, these birds are killing me right now. Oh my God, look at this, look at this. It's like freaking huge craziness. Anyways, all right, floss your teeth, take care. It's enough about these low-end goggles for now. Totally suitable if you want to pick them up. If not, get the Eachine ones. If not one of those two, then just get the nice pair. You'll appreciate it. You don't change them very often. Bye-bye.